Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. This is the follow-up to my 400 subscription video and Furiosa giveaway. But before we begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe. Most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about this video, how you feel about my channel. Any kind of feedback whatsoever would be greatly appreciated because it will help my channel grow and help me provide content that you will all enjoy. Now, I just reached 500 subscribers recently, and I was overwhelmed. I never in a million years thought that I would hit that milestone. And to show my appreciation, I wanted to do another video where I just asked everybody questions and answered them, and also wanted to give away something on my channel for the first time. And in this particular case, it is a digital code for the movie Furiosa. So we're going to do that right away. I have already taken the liberty of drawing a name out of the hat, and the winner is Corey. It's backwards, I know, but Corey at Wilkys Movies. Corey, congratulations. I will be reaching out to you after I film this video, and we'll work out how I can get you your code. So again, Corey over at Wilkys Movies. I'll throw his link in the description below. Check his channel out. He's a great guy. Does lots of great content. Congratulations, Corey. I'm really happy to see you won it, and I hope you enjoy the film. For the others who did not win, I'm sorry. I will do more drawings in the future. Now let's get to the questions. I didn't get as many questions this time around as I did the first time around, but quite honestly, the questions this time around are much more difficult. So let's just dive in. And the first one's probably the hardest one of all. From my good friend, Brian Rasmussen from Finland. Hello, Brian. As always, thank you so much for everything, all of your comments, all of your support to my channel. Thank you so much. You're one of my OGs. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. But anyways, Brian wants to know, what am I most proud of? Now, I wasn't sure if you meant as far as the channel goes or just in general. If we were just talking in general, I would just say my family, the relationships that I have with my family, most of my family. Unfortunately, I'm not as close to a couple of my brothers as I should be, but me and my sister have definitely gotten closer again through the years, and I take care of my mom, so I'm proud of that. As far as the channel goes, number one, I'm proud that I got 500 subscribers. I didn't think I would ever get that. But as far as the content goes, I initially was going to say the 50 years on film, but quite honestly, that's not really true, because that was more or less just a way to spotlight my collection for the most part, or the majority of my collection at least. The thing that I think I'm most proud of as far as the content goes is the Drive-In Memories series that I did. That came together much better than I thought it would, and the response for the One Crazy Summer episode, I was very hesitant about putting that out there, and that one got the biggest response out of everything, and the feedback on that was great. So I'm probably going to try to do content more like that in the future, because longtime viewers of my channel will notice this is not so much a movie collector channel as much as it's a movie appreciation channel. My collection is decent, but it's not huge by any stretch, and I don't buy as many movies as most do. I very rarely blind buy unless it's something that I missed in the theater that I really want to see. I'm not a completionist. I'm not the type of guy who buys multiple versions of movies, even if I had the financial means to do so. I just, but I can talk about movies all day long. And that's kind of what I like doing with this channel, is the feedback that I've gotten with others through the comments and just from conversations that we've had, whether it be online or offline. I just got into that, or got invited to join Kenny and Sean with their live stream every other week. That was something I wasn't expecting, and I'm very, very proud of that. And speaking of which, I'll put down the links to that project now in the description below. I hope you'll all join us. If you can't join us live, if you could watch the replays, it would be awesome. I would appreciate it. But hopefully that answers your questions, Brian. And again, for all of your support, thank you so much. Okay, next from Sidor30. Any good sci-fi films from 2024 that you've seen that aren't major releases that you would recommend? To be honest, first of all, thank you very much for the question. Unfortunately, I am way behind in watching movies. To be honest, I have not seen hardly anything that's been released this year, whether it's on streaming, theatrical, literally the only science fiction movies that I've watched so far that were released this year is Dune Part 2, Furiosa, and if you want to call it sci-fi, probably Godzilla and Kong. And all three of those were major releases. So unfortunately, I don't really have any good smaller films at this point to recommend. I am a sci-fi geek. I love sci-fi. I'm going to be doing a lot of sci-fi content this month in the future. A couple of weeks before October begins, because October is going to be horror. But hopefully in that little sci-fi related stuff that I do this month, there'll be some older titles that are a little bit smaller that maybe you've never heard of, that you've never seen, that you would be interested in. So again, thank you so much for the question. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Okay, next, from one of my favorite people online who I've met in this journey, Mr. Dan in horror. Dan, you're awesome, dude. I love you, guy. You are so good. But he's got a really good question. What are some of your favorite sci-fi and horror movies that you watched on UHF TV back in the 70s and 80s? And I watched a lot of Creature Feature, and the Chicago area had a show on Sunday afternoons called Family Classics, hosted by Fraser Thomas, who was also the host of Garfield Goose. But anyways, he played a lot of, excuse me, more family-oriented type movies, but that's where I saw Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and one of my favorites, Mysterious Island. I love Mysterious Island to this day. It's such a great movie. I love it. As far as the Creature Feature movies go, first and foremost, Night of the Living Dead. That was the first horror movie I ever saw. It was on Late Night Creature Feature, UHF TV, and then it eventually got a channel on, no, it was still a UHF. I take that back. But anyways, we watched that for years. And then as far as some other, little cheesy movies, I would go with like Attack of the Saucermen, those Martians with the gigantic eyeballs. Oh my God, it scared the shit out of me. And they had like the needles on their fingers, that they would inject. They injected a cow and made the cow pass out, but I'll never forget those big old eyes. The Man with X-Ray Eyes. That was a Corman movie with Ray Milland. I saw that one on Creature Feature, and the ending of that movie where he literally pops his own eyeballs out and then it's a freeze frame. That image stuck in my head for years as a child. So yeah, there was a lot of them, but those are the ones that definitely pop into my head first. So again, Dan, thank you so much for all of your support. I'm going to leave Dan's information in the description as well. Okay, next we got a couple of questions from UK. The first, we've got Roy Barrett 5609, or Blue Roy Movies. And again, I recently discovered Roy through the next gentleman that I'll get to his question after Roy. But Roy's got a great channel. By all means, please, all these links I'm going to leave below. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to them, check them out. They're great. And Roy is no exception. He's got some awesome content on there. He's a great guy. But his question, and again, this one's, you made me think about this one, mate. Favorite British movie? And my God, there are so many. And not only that, but so many of my favorite movies were made in Britain, just in Pinewood Studios alone. The Bond movies and Star Wars and so many others. But those aren't British movies. I get where you're coming from. I don't know if I have an all-time favorite, but I'll mention a couple that I really enjoy. And they're all crime capers, So the first one is Get Carter. with Michael Caine from the 70s. It might be late 60s, but I'm pretty sure it's the early 70s. It was remade into a movie with Sylvester Stallone years later, which, quite honestly, I didn't really enjoy, but I really liked the original version with Michael Caine. I think it's a great movie. Similar in that vein is The Long Good Friday. I saw that early 80s, and that was the first time I ever saw Bob Hoskins in a movie, and the man just terrified me. Yeah, that's another one. One that's not set in the UK, but it's got UK characters, Sexy Beast, with Ben Kingsley and Ray Winstone and Ian McShane. I love that movie. That movie's great. Layer Cake with Daniel Craig and Michael Gambon. I really enjoyed that movie. And probably my favorite as far as like entertainment value goes, you can't go wrong with Snatch from Guy Ritchie. That movie, it never gets old for me. I love the dialogue in that movie. I love the performances in that movie. You know, that one in Trainspotting, although the Trainspotting is more of Scotland, rather. The first time I watched those two movies, I almost needed the subtitle track because some of the accents are so thick. I just had a hell of a time picking up on them. But yeah, I absolutely love Snatch. I think it's a great movie. So, Roy, for your question and all your support, again, my friend, thank you so much. Okay, and speaking of the UK, and this is how I discovered Roy's channel, my good buddy Stuart George from Stuart George's Home Movies. Stuart just broke 700 a couple of days ago. So again, if you have not subscribed to his channel, please do so. He's a great guy. One of my earliest subscribers. Me and him take the piss out of each other in the comments constantly. He's one of my favorite people in the community. Please support Stuart's channel. And of course, the little bastard had to get 2 questions for the price of 1 because that's the way he is, you know. I'm just kidding, Stuart. I love you, man. And we're back to sci-fi questions. What is your favorite decade for sci-fi? And I had to think about that one for a minute because every decade going way back has had some great sci-fi movies. But at the end of the day, it's got to be the 70s. And you could take Star Wars and Close Encounters and say even Logan's Run out of it, and it would still probably be my favorite decade for 70s sci-fi. I mean, there are so many great movies, so many iconic movies from that decade. You know, Omega Man, you know, the Planet of the Apes sequels. You know, the original one came out in the 60s, of course, but you know, my first Planet of the Apes movie, my first theatrical memory was a Planet of the Apes movie in '74. You know, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. You know, so many. Soylent Green. You know, I'm trying to think of some great ones that didn't star Charlton Heston, but you know what I'm getting at. I mean, the 70s had so many interesting sci-fi movies that were more about ideas than necessarily special effects. So that is probably my favorite decade from the 70s. Now, for sci-fi. Now, if you're talking horror, it's the 80s all day long, because that was my decade to see those movies. And the early part of that decade was dominated by horror, and we're going to get into that in October. But your second question, since you know horror, and it's very similar to the last question we've got. What films do you want to see, or are you looking forward to see this Halloween season? And again, I am so far behind seeing new movies. I still haven't seen Lawn Legs. I want to see that. There's a movie that came out either at the beginning of this year or late last year that I still haven't seen called Late Night with the Devil that I really want to watch. My mind is kind of blank on the rest, but the new Salem's Lot is finally hitting HBO Max, I believe on October 5th. I am looking forward to that. Now, my expectations are low on that because, quite frankly, I'm a Stephen King fanatic. I've read just about all of his books, definitely all of his earlier books, seen them all the movies for the most part. Salem's Lot to me was always one of his weaker books. But I love the original miniseries because I saw that when I was a kid. And the little vampire bastard scratching on the window, let me in, Mark. That scared the shit out of me. I mean, literally scared the shit out of me for years. And then I saw the remake with Rob Lowe years later, which wasn't very good. And when I heard that they were making a theatrical version, I was excited. And then it got held back for a multitude of reasons. I think most of them were Warner Brothers looking for a tax write-off. But I think Stephen King, the clout of Stephen King is what's making them put it on Max. And from all accounts, it's not because it's a bad movie. Again, it's just they were looking for a tax write-off, which is a shame. But I saw the trailer, and the trailer was okay. I loved how they used the Gordon Lightfoot song "Sundown" in the trailer. I thought that was cut together really well. But the trailer didn't really excite me or anything. But again, I am excited to see the movie, but my expectations are low. But yeah, that's probably the one that I'm looking forward the most as far as movies I haven't seen yet. And again, Stuart, thank you so much for all of your support, my friend. You're one of the best, and you're going to be hitting 1,000 very quickly. I have no doubt. Last, certainly not least, we got my good friend Sean over at CinephileSanityTV, part of the CW Nation. And again, I'm going to be dropping Sean's links. Please, by all means, get over there and check out Sean's channel and the live streams that he does with his partners in crime, Texas and Juno. Those guys are awesome, and the community is second to none. Their community is the best. So get over there and show those guys some love. They are all phenomenal people. But Sean's got what's my favorite all-time Halloween season type movie. Now, that's a trick question because, again, there's been lots of movies that take place during Halloween. Most of them have Halloween in the title. And if we're going with that criteria, then nothing will ever beat the original Halloween from John Carpenter. And I also extremely love Part 2, the original Part 2. And I've got a big soft spot for Season of the Witch, even though it's just, ridiculous. I'm not a big fan of any of the other stuff that came after that, including the Rob Zombie stuff. And I do own the newest trilogy. And again, I've got mixed feelings about that whole thing. I don't love any of those movies, and Halloween Ends I actually don't like at all, except for the opening scene, I should say, because that opening scene where the kid takes the faceplant is unbelievable. But if we're going outside of anything that says Halloween, and it's going to be a Halloween-based movie, the first one that jumped into my head was Trick or Treat. The one from the 90s, not the one from the 80s. Michael Dougherty directed movie with, oh, Jesus Christ, my brain just... Brian Cox in it, and Anna Paquin and a bunch of other people. That movie's a lot of fun. I do not own that movie, believe it or not, even though Scream Factory's got a really nice edition of it. But and I've never owned that movie, but I always really enjoyed that one. I think that movie's a lot of fun. And if we're going for anything that is not Halloween related, but it's just a scary movie, every Halloween, I always try to watch the original or the second movie. This year, even though it's got nothing to do with Halloween, Donald Sutherland passing away recently, I think I'm going to watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers this year. It's a creepy-ass movie, and I think that's what I'm going to do for this Halloween. So, but again, Sean, for all of your support, and you're one of the best, and I can't thank you enough. And I can't thank all of you enough for watching this. This video is coming up on 20 minutes. I've been rambling way too long, so we're going to end this. If I did not get to your question, please, I am sorry. I will dig it up in the comments, and I will give you a shout out in a future video and answer your question. So until the next time, I hope everybody is doing well. Once again, I want to congratulate Corey over at Wilkys Movies. I'm going to drop him a note and a link in the description below. And I hope you enjoy the movie, and I hope all of you enjoyed the video. So we'll see you on the next one, guys.